How you doing? This is the Flat Earth Genius coming at you once again from beautiful North Carolina. Got my old buddy Globy here with us today. Nice to see you again. It's been a while. Um, Had a few things go on over the last few months that just kind of kept me away from really being able to focus on putting out some videos, but I can assure you that hasn't stopped me from taking my time to study and research. I've been digging in nonstop, really just trying to get to the bottom of a lot of things. You know, when I first came into the flat earth movement back last summer in about May or June, I think it was, you know, the initial the initial impact of that information, you know, is very overwhelming, and you go through a lot of, you just kind of have to work through a lot of mess. And you start asking questions about everything, you know, when it deals with our existence and the world around us. So I'm just saying, you know, there's so much to look at. The just the flatness of the earth. Is it flat or is it curved? You know, all the different tests that have been going on, and the debunking and the back and forth. And then you have the sun, the moon, we had an eclipse, we have the star rotations, we have Antarctica, we have poles, we have gravity, density, buoyancy, we've got these magnetic fields, we have satellites, we have the International Space Station, we have the moon landing, we have NASA, we have treaties. You know, there's so much wrapped up into this conversation that it really takes a while to work through. And I can understand why globe earth believers who first come on and hear about the flat earth, it's easier just to stick with what you've already had, because it's easier, to be honest with you, because it takes a lot of work. I call myself the flat earth genius. You know, you take it for what it is. I've got a 166 IQ. I try not to wear it on my sleeve. I try not to be a douchebag about it, you know, but it is what it is. And as much intelligence as I have, this has been a lot of info over the past 6, 8 months. So I've just really taken a few months to just sit back and learn some things, question my own self, make sure I'm not being, you know, the tendency is you believe something, you run with it. So if all of a sudden we take up the flat earth mantle and we believe it, we have a tendency to then run with the information even though we don't really believe it ourselves or don't fully understand it. So we end up repeating other people, and we become no less of a cult than the globe earth believers, right? So we want to make sure that we present information that we're settled on in our own heart. That way we're not just parroting someone else's ideas and being a follower, but we're using other people's ideas to help us, but we're using our own mind and doing the research ourselves. So that's what I've been taking the last few months to do, and I hope it's paid off. I've got some things I want to go through, but today on this video, I've been waiting months for this, guys. I've got the globe's fatal flaw will be revealed today on this video. Now listen, I've tried to get this information to multiple flat earth channels like Dubay and Jeranism, Paul on the Plane, Seventh Day Truth Seeker, D Marble, Flat Earth Asshole, which we'll talk about in a minute. I've contacted every one of those channels multiple times telling them I have the information that we've been looking for, and no one so much as gets back with me. Now, Paul on the plane, who now goes by Paul Lindbergh, he did communicate with me. I even sent him this information, but he's not done anything with it. I'm not saying that he's bad for that. I'm just saying that's what happened. I love Paul on the plane. We talk all the time and text and chat during his live things, and he's a good man. He's got great information. So there's no, no negativity in this. I'm just saying that's how it went. I don't know what's going on, but so I'm finally going to put this information out myself. It won't be as good as someone else could have done it because this just isn't my shtick sitting here recording these things. But I'm going to do it, right? So I want to talk about flat earth asshole for a minute. Bro, if you watch this, Jake, I want you to understand something. I know I've had some harsh words for you, but it's only because I seen, not just me, a bunch of us seen what was happening to you coming. It was like we seen this wreck coming before it happened. And it was very predictable what was going to turn out here. And I don't know what's happened with you, bro. I would just ask you to rethink yourself, come back to the community where, we're not perfect. We're just people too. We make mistakes. We've been hard-headed. And, I don't know who influenced you. I don't know what's went on. And if you're under some type of duress or some type of pressure to conform, or maybe that's huge tinfoil hat conspiracy and it's just stupid, But it's possible you were making a difference in the community. A lot of people looked up to you. So, they try to get to people. So maybe they got to you. Maybe they did. Maybe you just genuinely snapped, or maybe you genuinely just feel strongly the way you do, and it comes from an honest opinion. It's wrong, I'll tell you that. You're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong about the AE map or whatever technical flat earth thing we're talking about. You're wrong about how you presented yourself and how you attacked people like me. And I don't say you attacked me personally publicly, but you did on Facebook and things. And you've attacked other people, Jaredism and Eric Dubay and everybody else, simply because we don't agree with you on something. Now, this is science, bro, and this is how it works. This is actually how science progresses, because we have people like you who have differing views, but yet we're all part of the same community. And we're not just a big hive mind of people who think alike, but we're a group of people who are individual in their thinking, and they bring their individual thoughts into a collective. And then we can hash these out at the grinding mill. We'll put it to the test and see, okay, man, you make some valid points about Australia and the sunlight, so we have to look at that. We've got to do something with that. That's information. When Edison was inventing the light bulb, he didn't find the perfect filament the first time. I would make a number up to say it, but I thought, I know it's hundreds or thousands of filaments he used before he found one that worked. Well, every time one failed, that wasn't bad information. That was good information. A failure is just as positive as a success, because when you fail at something, you strike something off. Now, that's failed. I used a piece of spaghetti for a filament and it doesn't work. Okay, now we know spaghetti is officially not a good filament. That's positive science. So all I'm saying is we can take these negatives and we can take our differences, and instead of looking at it in the negative way, we can look at it in the positive, which it is, and grow from it. So I just want to say that, flat earth asshole, Jake, whatever you call yourself now, you have been an asshole, and I will say that. I call you flat earth asshat. But, these are just words. The truth of the matter is I wish you were sitting right here next to me and we could talk this out. We could discuss this like rational people. Although Antonio tried to do that with you, and I mean, it was embarrassing. It was hard for me to watch what transpired between you and Antonio. That was bad, and I hope you've apologized for that. So, anyways, that's my take on Flat Earth Asshole. We love you, bro. We hope the best for you out there. We're not against you, and just stay strong, man. And we're here. You know, we're not going anywhere. The Flat Earth movement isn't going anywhere. So, you know, whatever it is, bro. Okay, I want to give a shout out real quick to a couple of small Flat Earth channels who may not get the love and attention they deserve, but for me, they've been pivotal. We all know the big names, like I've mentioned, Jaron and, you know, ODD and the Sword. We all know the big guys, but there's some smaller channels maybe you don't know about. Maybe you do. So I want to just kind of mention them, give them some love, and maybe show you a second or two of some of their videos just to show you what they're up to. So, okay, now let me bring, I'm learning how to do this, guys, so be patient with me, I beg you. Okay. All right, so this first channel is Wide Awake. Now, Wide Awake has just been killing it with his video observations of long range. He's down in Florida somewhere, I think in the Gulf Coast, Tampa area maybe, and he's been uploading just globe-killing videos. He's got one video where he has a cell phone literally 2 inches off the surface of the water, and you can see a bird rack 11 miles out. And the bird rack's like maybe 8 feet off the water where the light is. There's a flashing light on the top of it. It's maybe 8, 10 feet. Let's give you 10 feet. And at 11 miles away with this camera 2 inches off the surface of the water, you can see the light flashing. It's plain as day, in the daylight and at night. He did it through sunset, so if there was refraction and things, you would see that happen, and it just didn't happen. The light didn't move. It stayed there. I mean, that's over 70 feet of curve that's missing, and there's no way for a globe earther to account for that. So this is Wide Awake. Just watch a few seconds of this. I hope this is okay from Wide Awake. He's, you know, he's communicating with me back and forth.
We see it's on the lower setting, and water is right here. Okay, we're up on a little bitty lump. Matter of fact, if I take my camera, my cell phone,
and we're just seeing him. He documents everything, and
okay,
he gets these great long-range views going on. You see, you're looking at things way out here, and he knows what these things are because he's fished these waters for many years, so he's familiar with what we're looking at, and he'll even, you know, highlight and show you and talk to you about what you're looking at. I highly recommend you go to Wide Awake's channel because seriously, this guy is worth it. The next guy we got is this guy, man, is Curious Life. Now he's doing some, when it comes to the fundamentals of understanding flat earth physics, if that's what you want to call it, I highly recommend Curious Life because he is teaching us about the limits of optics and angular resolution and inclination of the angle of inclination in the eye, which I'm not going to get into right now, but I do want to get into that in another video. But just watch a minute of Curious Life here, and please visit his channel. This is critical information to understanding what we see on the horizon. If you don't understand this, you're not going to be able to understand the real world, because this is what we're seeing. And this is where the globe earthers are confused, and I understand why, but I recommend if you're a globe earther watching this, please visit this video in this channel.
Another way to visualize this is that when you understand there is a vanishing point and how your eye perceives light, flips the image, there's an inflection point, which is your eye level. This eye level is an inflection point. So everything that you can see below your eye level hits an inflection point, and guess what? That inflection point is the horizon. That's where everything that you can see above your eye level, when this angle here gets so tiny, that's where the vanishing point is, and this is what it's displaying in your eye. It's displaying the sky until the angles get so tiny, and all this stuff is going to blur. You're not going to see as much, obviously, toward the horizon because the distances are so great. And then,
so there we have Curious Life. Just wanted to give you a minute of him. But listen, this guy is excellent. I hope you can hear these guys talking. It's really not that important if you can't. Just go visit their videos. I'll work that out when I watch this back and fix it for next time if you can't hear them. I apologize. The next one I'd like to talk about is, as you see here, Nicole Cote. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. She is a fellow flat earth lady, the lady flat earther, who is very knowledgeable, and she likes to go back and read through some of the older books, like, from Samuel Rowbotham and Zetetic Astronomy and different books like that. She'll read out of it and then give her own insight. Here's a minute or so of just hearing her and getting her idea. Please go visit her. She's very good for this community.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, let's talk about why don't we feel the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles per hour? Why not? They say that on this equator here, the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Okay? And the only reason that we do not feel the spinning of this Earth at 1,000 miles per hour is because we are moving with the Earth and we are moving at a constant speed. And they give you an example, just like you're in a car, an airplane, and let's say you pour your drink, or you go walk to the bathroom on the airplane, you're not going to feel like you're moving at a high speed. Okay. That's as if you're in a contained vehicle, okay? Now this here, I don't know if you want to call this a contained vehicle.
So there we have Nicole Cote talking about how if the Earth is moving or not. Please go visit her page and give her some likes and see what she has. I think you will not be disappointed. And the last channel I want to bring up is the channel is called John Smith Globe Live, as you'll see right down here. John Smith Globe Live. What he does, him and a couple other people go around, and they're from the United Kingdom, I believe. I'm not sure what city, but they're over there. And they go around and just interview people on the street corner or wherever about flat Earth. But he has such a beautiful way of bringing this information forward that it's just fun to watch, and it's very educational. He's very gentle with people. He doesn't cuss or ridicule or put people down. He doesn't even really tell people anything. He just basically is there to kind of wake people up from the conditioning, to get people to question things and just to be critical about their thinking. Here's just a second or two. These were some Jehovah's Witnesses that came and actually tried to witness to him, and he started talking to them about flat Earth.
It's just what we believe. And it all ties in with what the question is: why people believe what they believe.
And we're probably in a position where, we've looked at so many things in our lives. So we're not young whippersnappers, but what we try to focus upon is reality, the things that we can testify and acknowledge as real. And we don't really want to go off into theories or beliefs or ideas. We want to keep it as real as possible because the beliefs and theories may be right.
Yeah, I understand.
They also may be wrong. But reality, the self-evident truth, like we can all agree that grass is green, fire is hot, water is wet. These are self-evident truths that we can build on.
Yeah.
Rather than going into theories or beliefs. And I'm not judging people for going into theories or beliefs.
But they are theories and beliefs. And the good thing about this conversation was you started the conversation with saying we're taught by dictators, and when they die out, we're taught something else, and when they die out. And that lied.
Oh, yeah.
The thing was, who have we been taught by? Who have we been taught by?
Oh, yeah, education was throughout.
Because, when I do the water experiment, and I take the cup, and I fill the cup, the water stays flat and level. If I twist the cup this way, the water will stay flat, always stay flat. If I do the swimming pool.
All right, and that's John Smith Global, and I messed up. I've got one more to tell you about, and this guy, man, just cracks me up. I love this guy. His channel name is called Subphotonic, and let me warn you, it's not safe for work. Don't watch this with the kids around because he's got a mouth that would make a sailor blush. But I love every minute of it. I think we need guys like this in the community. You know, it takes 52 cards to make a deck. And, you know, everybody has their ways. And this guy has got his way. And let me just play you a minute of them and just enjoy.
We call it Belmont, which makes more sense. These fucking retards walking upside down and you're supposed to be sending all this crazy retard shit. Or this reality when you actually take a picture of their death is reality. So flat, you're not spinning, you're not moving, you're not retarded. If Earth curves downward approximately 2.9 miles away at the horizon here, then what happened to the then what happened to the downward curve? Here, every 3 miles. Should be curving, right? Where's curve? You say that's the curve. Well, it's not. It's fucking not. It's flat. It's right there in your fucking face. This shit is flat. So, when you accidentally drop your ISS in the fucking pool, when you accidentally drop the entire full fucking scale ISS in a pool. Fuck it.
Just
all bodies of water contained by the shorelines remain flat in motion.
He said just fuck it. But that's the truth, man. But that was Subphotonic. I highly recommend you check out his page and give him some props. He hasn't put out a video in about a month. He puts them out all the time, and now for a month he's been silent. But he did send me a message saying, you know, he appreciated my comment or whatever. So he's still around. Maybe he's just going through something, you know. It happens. So, anyways, check out them guys, give them some love. And if you have any other small flat earth channels like that, put them in the comments of this video. Let us know about it, you know. Let's get these guys, you know, the credit they deserve, because really it's channels like this who are really doing the grunt work in this, really going out and just experimenting, you know, and spending their own money and making sacrifices for us. Wide Awake spends a lot of time and money sacrificing for what? Just to be laughed at, you know, just to be mocked and ridiculed. You know, it's a thankless thing, and let's just give them a little bit of credit where it's due. Okay, so I'm ready to get into the meat of this, which we've all been waiting for. I really don't know how to present this, so forgive me. I'm going to probably be all over the place. This is my first time explaining it in a coordinated way. I've set up a slideshow that'll kind of direct me, so I'm just going to go through my slides that I've made and do some talking, and hopefully, you know, you're going to understand what I'm saying. If not, I encourage somebody else who can do better graphics and who can take this information and make a more presentable presentation of it, to please do it. I may have came up with this information, but I don't own information. You understand what I'm saying? Knowledge doesn't belong to me. We're in this together, so I'm not going to be mad if you use this information. Just get it out there. Yeah, tell people, you know, if you can think about it, say, hey, this flat earth genius is the one that came up with this. Let's give him some props. You know, my channel's not monetized. I don't care how many people watch it. But I want people to see the information and learn and grow as humans. So anyways, let's get into it, my friends. This is all stemming from Rob Skiba's balloon launch last year. I think we all remember it. He had the two cameras, the fisheye lens and the non-fisheye lens at the same time on the balloon, and it was a great video. Great job, you know. A lot of money to do that. A lot of money to put that balloon up in there and get that information and coordinate all that in just a time. So let's appreciate people who do things like that. It's not cheap. But what happened is that just like with any video we put out, as soon as we put it out, you know, Wolfie or Sly or whoever comes along and tries to debunk it and tries to show us how stupid we are because we don't understand globe math and yada yada yada, and you know, we can obviously see a curve and we say we don't in different things. So I'm going to play just a minute of the globe launch, just a fraction of it from Rob Skiba. You can find this on Rob Skiba's YouTube channel. This was the balloon launch. So just watch a minute. I just want you to kind of see what we were looking at here. The top frame is obviously with the GoPro, and the bottom was without the fisheye. Sorry, they're both GoPros. Top is fisheye, the bottom is without fisheye. And he's, as you can see over here on the right, he's nearly 100,000 feet up at this point. So he's nearly 20 miles up in the air at this point. So let's just watch a minute of this. Hang on.
Sorry, guys. But what Rob was saying about the Coriolis effect, the other thing too is you have to look at the programming that we've received. Like for instance, I remember specifically watching or reading an Iron Man comic book when I was a kid, and there was no Coriolis effect inside the globe, inside the dome, inside the underneath the Van Allen dome or whatever, or the ozone. It's when he shot up through and went into quote-unquote space, then the Earth moved out.
You see that top video, how it wobbles up and down because it's fisheye. It gets real round and almost flat as the camera bobs. Whereas the bottom, the horizon stays the same the entire time because it doesn't have a curved aperture on it. You know, it's looking through flat lens, so it's going to represent it properly. Okay, so let's look at this little diagram I've made here and talk about it. And I've got the ball out here, as you can see. You should be seeing me on the screen in the bottom. And I'll make it larger when you need to see exactly what's going on over here. But, okay, Skiba and Sly's math from the video, right? The Earth has a curve, circumference of 24,901. That's the Earth. Now the balloon went to 100,000 feet or 18.9 miles. Their visible horizon was approximately 400 miles away. Now the green dot below the Earth, below this text, is to scale where the balloon was off of this Earth. Do you see the green dot? Do you see a green dot right here? How about now? You see that little tiny pixel, that one little dot? That's how high, if this circle is the Earth, That's how high that balloon was off of the Earth. This is to scale, as close as I could get it using pixels and measurements, but this is very accurate, okay? That's how far off the Earth's surface they were. And they had a 400, their horizon was 400 miles away. Like when we're standing 6 foot off the ground, if your eyeballs are at 6 foot, your horizon's approximately 3 miles away. Well, from 100,000 feet, the horizon was 400 miles away. You can go to different curve calculators and find this information. So look at over here at this math. And this is the argumentation that Sly used to try to say that in this image right here, and we're going to show that in a little bit, he took a frame and then put it in Photoshop or whatever program he used, and then he turned the levels down and you could actually get a crisp line across here. And then he considered that the horizon, and he looked in, and sure enough, it wasn't exactly a perfect flat line. He was right. There is a slight curve on this line. You can probably just about see it with your naked eye. Just the slightest drop on this. Now, obviously, this is big time. This is obvious. This isn't obvious, but this has the slightest of slight curves on it. Rob Skiba even admits that, that this was slightly curved, but then what he did is he also, on the ground, used this same camera and took a long-range picture, and from ground level, it was slightly curved too. So we think that might be a bias built into the lens, like you got to remember, lenses are very, very intricate, and any fluctuation in a lens distorts the image. So maybe this lens isn't 100%. Maybe it takes a high dollar to get a perfect aperture. I don't know. But let's just go with the fact that there's a slight curve in this, okay? Here's the math. We know there's 360 degrees in a circle, right? Well, if the Earth is 24,901 miles, this gives us the angle per mile of Earth's curve. So for every mile, you divide 360 divided by 24,901, it gives you 0.0144. So for every mile of Earth's 24,901, you have 0.014 of a degree of curve. So now Rob Skiba and Sly both admit that there was about a 310-mile viewable horizon on this video. So going back, this is approximately 310 miles from here to here. I guess they got that based off of the angle of the lens that is in the specs and whatever. So 310 miles. Okay, we'll give them that. So you take 310 miles, there's 0.014 degree per mile, multiply that out, and that comes to across 310 miles, we should see a 4.5, let's round it, degree curve in the horizon over 310 miles right here. Here's the Earth's curve. Here's 310 miles of it. So this should be approximately 4.5 degrees, right? We can all admit that's good math, that's solid, that's logical, and accurate. Okay. And then, so looking back here, when Sly, which I will show in just a minute, don't worry, when he puts the image in Photoshop, it does reveal a curve of 4.4 degrees. Well, did Rob Skiba and Sly just prove a globe? Because there's a 4.48 degree curve in that 310 mile span, which I'm not going to argue with. So what happened? Well, according to Skiba and Sly, the curve on this 310 mile arc should be 4.5 degrees, right? were it on a globe and not a flat Earth. So Sly used Photoshop to prove that this here arc in the balloon video is indeed curved to 4.4 degrees, which it was, thus proving the Earth is now and forever a globe. I say, not so fast, Sly. Not so fast, Rob. And not so fast, world, because have I got some news for you guys. There is a major, and notice I've got major underlined, there's a major flaw in this map. See if you can figure it out. If you do, you'll be the first, besides me, to ever figure it out. In my experience, I've asked other flat earthers, I've asked college professors, I've asked brains, I've asked Mensa people, I've asked common people, I've asked family, I've asked friends. I've laid this down to a lot of people, and no one knew it. No one. I've not seen it on any video. I've not seen it on any debunked video. I've not seen it in my entire time in schooling through all my years. Our math is wrong, and it changes everything. And this is how. The globe's fatal flaw is now revealed. And for most of you guys, it's going to come really quick. It's going to flood in, and you're going to be like, oh, shit. Are we fucking stupid? Yes, we've been stupid, but here we go. Now here you see the same 310 miles of viewable horizon, except this time you see it in relation to the actual circle it is an arc of. This outer circle is the Earth's 24,901 miles circumference, right? But this inner circle is the actual field of view from that balloon. Remember, the balloon wasn't seeing the entire 24,901 mile diameter of the Earth. It was seeing just a fraction of a small circle, only 400 miles to the horizon, so it's 800 miles in diameter, or what, 2,500 miles in circumference? So this circle, I'm here in the middle in the balloon, looking down upon Earth. I'm seeing 400 miles out. So this circle that I see, this horizon, when I turn my head in a 360 degree, is 2,500 miles, not 24,901 miles. Okay? So now that I see a 310 mile section, which is not 310 miles, we'll look at that, but anyways, when I'm looking at this circle now, I can't compare my viewable field based off of the curve over here. I've got to base it off of the curve of this circle. Got me? You remember when we were back here? This 310 miles is almost a straight line. I mean, you can see it. It's almost a straight line. That's about a 4-degree curve, according to Sly in his Photoshop, and we'll give him that. We'll say that's accurate. That's about a 4-degree curve, and it almost looks flat. Because look, it almost looks flat. This is to scale on this picture here. Now, look at it on this picture. Notice this curve? This is nearly a 45-degree curve instead of a 4-degree curve. Let's read this. We have to relate it to the actual circle it is an arc of. It is not part of Earth's 24,901 mile circle, but the much smaller viewable circle of 2,512 miles. So now instead of assuming we should see a 4-degree curve, actually we should see 44.5 degrees of the curve. The assumption that you use Earth's 24,901 miles in this formula is the fatal flaw, and until now, it has went unchecked, my friends. Tell me it hasn't. I know you're slapping yourself in the head right now. And if you say you knew this, I challenge any flat earther to show me where they said this in any video they've ever made. If they have, I will humbly bow. But I've never seen it once. And I've watched thousands of them. And they all use Sly's math. Even Rob Skiba used Sly's math. Even Jeranism used Sly's math. Even OD. Everybody uses that math. Everybody. Because we've been duped. Math time, boys and girls. From the balloon. The viewable horizon is 400 miles, am I right? Well, 400 times 2 is 800. That's the diameter. That's from here to here. And then you multiply it by pi, and that gives you the circumference, which is 2,512 miles. Okay, now try to get this. Let me, can you see? Oops. Let me get back over. Hang on. Okay. I want you to be able to see that top part. Okay, this is to scale. This is the field of view from the balloon. If I put a picture and it's not the scale, it'll say on here. So if it says this is to scale, I've done it as close as I possibly can using this program to get it to scale, okay? This is the field of view of the balloon. That's it. Look at the size of the Earth. Now, here's what I'm trying to say. You can never view Earth. No one has ever viewed Earth's 24,901 mile curve ever this way. It's impossible. And I'll show you in a little bit why. The only way you have ever seen Earth's 24,901 mile curve, if we live on a ball, is away from you. If I'm standing on top of this ball, let's go large for a second here. I'm going to use my pointer. We're standing on top of this ball, right? This is the Earth, 24,901 circumference. Circumference. It's like the circumference goes in every direction. You can draw a line anywhere and get that circumference from this spot, right? But that's going away from the center, like spokes going toward the center of a bike tire, out toward the rim, is the directions I'm talking about. Like this is the hub of a spoke. Now that's the Earth's 24,901 mile curve, because you're actually following the actual curve of the Earth, right? But if I look out to the horizon, and let's say I'm up to a point where I'm seeing here, which we're going to show with the ISS here in a little bit. If you're on the ISS, this is your horizon, this ring right here. In fact, I've got it marked. This dot is where the ISS would be, but of course it would be off the ball a little bit. And this is where they can see approximately, this black line. Now, if you're here at the ISS looking out to your horizon, you're looking across the drop of the globe this way, because this is 24,901 all the way around, am I right? So if this was the balloon, and this was the balloon's horizon, which was 400 miles away, this is for the ISS, but let's just say it's for the balloon. It's not the scale for the balloon. This is for scale for the ISS. Let's say this is 400 miles. Well, then this is, thousands of miles around. You're just continuing the curve of the Earth. But when you look out and see your horizon, you see what I'm saying? You're not looking at Earth's curve anymore, buddies. You're not looking at a 24,901 mile section of Earth. You're looking at a 2,500 mile section. If I took a knife and sliced this off like this was a solid apple, and I slice this off and there's a flat spot left and it's this round, that is the curve I'm looking at. I'm not looking at Earth's curvature. I'm looking at the unique independent curvature of this specific circle. So whatever circle size this is, let's say it's a tiny circle because we're standing on the ground looking outwards. It's going to be a little tiny 3 mile diameter, 3 miles radius, 6 miles diameter, about 18 something miles circumference circle. That's what we got to base our field of vision off of. When me and you go out to the ocean and look at the water, we're not seeing Earth's 24,901 mile curve. We're not seeing a fraction of that huge ass curve. We're seeing a big part of a tiny circle. Okay? Most people should get this by now. I shouldn't have to even show one more slide and this should be it. But I'm going to show a couple more slides because some people are slow. So I hope you understand the only way you can actually see Earth's actual curve from that balloon is away from it. This way, this way. But if you're thinking that this is the Earth's circle, sorry, not going to happen. Not on my watch, people. Okay, I took this balloon, or this yoga ball, and I'm going to stand up for 1 minute. And I made this. This is to scale for the ISS. We'll get into the ISS mass here in a little bit. This is to scale. This is the viewable horizon of the ISS 220 miles off of the Earth. And I made a video of it. So I'm going to put that right there so you can see it. I made that black because that's what they would see, the black of space. This is what their view should be from the ISS of Earth. Let me pause this. Imagine right here in the center, about on this ball, you're only talking, I think it's like ½ an inch is where the ISS would be off of the top of this ball, ½ an inch. It's better than, in fact, I got a picture come up that shows it to scale. But, you know, that's their line of sight. And it's probably a little generous, but, you know, this is what they see. Okay, let's continue the video. Now think, you're on the ISS right now looking at the horizon. And that dead fly, that space fly in the middle of space, the dead alien fly. That's how much hump we should see. We should see that much hump from their field of view. And that's what we should see. So, a picture is worth 1,000 words, am I right? So what we got here is you're on the ISS looking down to the Earth. This is all black space right here because even though the rest of the ball is there, you're too close to it. Your field of vision, your angle of view, you know, we see in straight lines. So if I'm up here, you know, my angle only limits me to be able to see. You have to get real high in order to see farther down the ball. You have to get higher because you have to get at the angle to view it. So this is what they see from the ISS. We're going to go into the normal peripheral view of a human being, like how much we can see. Like, you know, can I see my hand here and here? What can I see? Can I see that mirror over there and that wall hanging over there? I'm looking straight over here. I can see a mirror on this wall, and I can see a wall hanging on that wall over there, looking straight at that ball. We have a very wide peripheral view, about 114 degrees on average is what we can see. And that's about a third of a circle. Multiply 114 times 3, and you've almost got 360, just shy of it. So we're going to get into that, but technically when I'm looking, I'm seeing 1/3 of a circle. I'm seeing 1/3 of the way around me in one shot. So if I was to like look straight ahead, take a snapshot, I could do that 3 times and have my entire circumference in 3 field of views. So when you're on the space shuttle or the International Space Station looking down and you see a third, let's say, if you can see the marks I scratched, this is how much of the horizon you're seeing right in front of you. This is a 360-degree circle. You're seeing 114 degrees of it. You should be seeing a 114-degree circle arc. You should be seeing a third of a 360-degree circle. You shouldn't be seeing 4 degrees or 3 degrees of a circle. You should be seeing 114 degrees. Okay? And I'm going to prove that, my friends. Now here's the ISS at 220 miles up. Look how close to the surface that is. This is all they can see. Now anything past that just goes off into space, so that's why you can only see space past that. So going back to the balloon, when this balloon has an 800-mile diameter view, this is the balloon off the ground, this is their line of sight, and this is the horizon where it meets the ground. You know, the line of sight meets the ground is the horizon. That's only 800. That's 3.2% of Earth's curvature. They're only seeing from there to there, the diameter is they're only seeing 3% at any given time in this direction if the Earth is a ball. Now this image is not to scale. This is just for representation. This is to scale. This is the approximate size of what that balloon could see when it was at its highest. This was its field of view. It had a pretty good coverage of quite a few states. You know, I'm not saying it was dead centered over that spot right there. It could have been over here. I think it was in this area of the U.S. I'm not sure, but where they sent it up. But anyways, the point is this is how big it could see. So when you're thinking about that, now let's get back to Sly's. This is from Sly, right here, right? Sly Sparkane Flat Earth. Rob Skiba proves globe. Oops, let me go back. Now let's look at this is where he photoshopped it. He did the contrast thing so you could clearly see it, which you can. And you can see there's just a slight little curve in this line. And it's about a 4-degree curve. But look at Sly's map. Circumference of the Earth, 24,901. The circle is 360 degrees, so miles per degree, 69 miles. The field of view is 310 miles. So you divide 69 into 310 and you get 4.5 degrees of curve according to Sly's math. And it just so happens to be that you're seeing 4 degrees on this. And he's like, Baha, Rob Skiba done to prove the globe. Sorry, Globetards, nice try. I don't think so. Rob Skiba's balloon wasn't seeing the whole 24,901 diameter of the Earth, or circumference. It was saying a little teeny percentage of the Earth's surface. Thank you. As a matter of fact, look right here on this circle. This is 310 miles of viewable horizon, according to the size of the circle that balloon saw. Does that look like a 4.5 degree angle to you? No, it looks like more like about 40 to 50 degrees to me. Now I want to show you something. This is, oopsies, this is real. This happened. This is, when I started researching this a few months ago, I got in touch with a family member of mine who claims to be a brilliant person. He's got a very high IQ. Not as high as mine, but very high IQ. He's a college professor. He teaches theory and physics and math and philosophy and things like that. He's very he's a hermit. He's very eclectic. You know, he has his ways, and so we got into a discussion about this. He's a globe believer. And for weeks, we went back and forth. And he wrote this to me when I showed him this information. I had not paid attention to the details. Let me move this so you can see it. I had not paid attention to the details about the size of the ark. I had just presumed they would use the right math. However, since I still think it impossible for the Earth to be flat and not a globe, I would need a stronger proof for flatness. And then he goes on with, you know, typical globe-tard logic. But this blew my mind. He still thinks it's impossible. So in other words, his preconceived ideas are, his cognitive dissonance is in the way. His cognitive dissonance will not allow him to see the reality that it's been wrong. And here it is, right here, in words that he wrote to me, July 21st of last year. Now check this out. Here's some brain milk. Look at this picture. Does anybody know what this picture is of? Can anybody guess the name or guess this photo? Is this of Mars? Is this of the moon? Is this of a hair follicle under a microscope? Does anybody know what this is? And before you do, does that look straight and flat? My eyeballs say, man, that looks pretty flat to me. Well, this is what this is. 1946, they sent a space rocket up, the V-2 rocket, 65 miles in the air, and it took a snapshot. The missile was destroyed, but, you know, the capsule containing the film was, you know, intact, like kind of like a black box. It was protected, and this was the snapshot they got. This was 65 miles up. Now remember, Rob Skiba's balloon was 18 miles up, so this is over 3 times as high. Do you see any curve here, my friends? Well, here's what I did. Let's look at the math of it real quick. The camera field of view, this is always important, you know, that periphery. As a human, when we just stand looking with our own naked eyes, we got about 114 degree field of view. Now, if I hold my camera up, this camera's got a different field of view because it's not wide angle like my eyes are. Okay, this might have a narrower field of view. So we don't know exactly how much of field of view that camera had. I'm going to just guess 25 degrees. It could be 50 degrees or whatever, I don't know. But at 65 miles up, here's the height of the rocket. This is to scale, 65 miles off the Earth's surface. This is to scale the size of their viewable horizon, and it's, you know, the diameter of this circle is 4,500. I'm sorry, let me get back down here. It's 1,400 miles in diameter, so it's over 700 miles to the horizon from where they are. It's 1,442 in diameter, 4,527 in circumference. So if they're seeing 25 degrees of that, then they're seeing approximately 314 miles. I'm not sure how much we're seeing from here to here. I'm just guessing based off of the width of their angle of lens. But let's say this is 300, 400 miles. Could be more. This is bare minimum. It's probably more. But that could be 300, 400 miles there, and there's not a curve. Now watch. Boom. All I did was rotated it sideways, and then I photoshopped a straight line in there. And there is not a curve. I left it just slightly above so you could see the black 1 pixel through it here. Black 1 pixel through it here, and look across. I mean, it keeps it consistent. It's almost a little wider in the middle. It's almost concave, if you say, but you don't know. The lens could have a little bit of aperture to it, you know. But it's, in essence, it's flat. So this is undisputable, you know what I'm saying? But yet, you got Homeboy thinking that Rob Skiba's balloon at 1/3 the height of this was showing the curve of the Earth. I believe the 4-degree curve from Rob Skiba's balloon was strictly because of the camera. I think it was strictly because of the lens of the camera. I don't believe that those GoPros, even the flat ones, are truly flat. But I could be wrong. I think we need to do some more research into that. We need to get cameras and find out what camera does not color the image at all. One that will give an exact, and we can do this by testing, you know, taking pictures of curved lines and testing shit, you know. So let's go on. Part 3, the normal human field of view. Like I was saying, our normal peripheral is about 114 degrees, or about 1/3 of the way around us. You understand what I'm saying? It would take 3 snapshots for us to see all the way around us. Well, from that balloon, who had a 2,512 mile circumference, we could see 114 degrees of it. You know, we're seeing 114 degrees with our eyes. If I was standing in that balloon looking at the Earth, I would see 114 degrees, which would be equivalent to 804 miles of horizon. Rob Skiba and Sly thought they were seeing 310 miles. I believe that they were seeing quite a bit more than 300 miles. I'm not sure how wide that GoPro lens is. Maybe someone could get back to me and let me know how wide of an angle. Maybe it only sees 90 degrees. Maybe it sees 100 degrees. But the 310 miles would have been like nearly 1/3 of this. So nearly 1/3 of this, so 50 degrees maybe. And I think that camera's more than 50 degrees wide. But they're seeing way more than 310 miles. And they're not seeing 310 miles of this. They're seeing 310 miles of this. There's a little circle. So this is the curve you should see if you were on a ball. And there can be no doubt about that. And I will go into that in just a minute. I've already went through that. Now this is talking about if we're standing on the ground, we're 6 foot to our eyeballs. Your tiny 19-mile circumference field of view, you know, you're seeing 3 miles out. It means there's 3 miles behind you. That's 6 miles times pi is 18.19 miles basically around you. So when you're standing at the beach, let's say you're in the middle of the ocean with water all the way around you, and you look straight out in your periphery, that is 114 degrees. That's a third of a circle. So that's a third of 19 miles, which is approximately a little over 6 miles. So from here to here, you're seeing 6 miles of horizon. Okay? And this horizon isn't 6 miles of 24,901 because you're not looking at it this way. You're looking at it this way. You're seeing the curve of the very specific circle, which is your field of view. And the Earth's curve, the Earth, it doesn't matter what the Earth is doing. It doesn't matter how big this Earth is, because your field of view limits itself. This is our viewable horizon from 6 feet off the ground. That horizon is just 3 miles away, you know, to the actual horizon line. The horizon does not go straight, but follows an arc all the way around you at 3 miles in distance. So if I take my arm represents 3 miles, and this is the horizon, and this is me. When I look, you know, I see in a circle because I can only see that far from 6 feet. So everywhere I look, I'm seeing 3 miles out. I'm just seeing a different part of the circle, right? But how can they then tell you that you should be seeing the 24,901 mile curve of the Earth right here? Impossible. I'm sorry, fellas, impossible. You can try to say I'm wrong, you can try to say whatever, but I'm going to tell you the genius is right on this one, and I'll take it to the grave. I am right because we aren't seeing this direction around the Earth. Our circle is just a little teeny tiny circle that we're seeing. Correct? Look at this video. This is us out in the middle of the ocean. I'm seeing 3 miles. And you see this boat, he does a pan, you see the sun here. So you can reference that, you know. He's doing a pan. We're seeing 3 miles there. That's 3 miles there. That's 3 miles there. That's 3 miles there. So in toto, that's 19 miles around. Do you see? So now let me pause this. So we know that this is just the horizon, the rim of a 19-mile circle. It's like a 19-mile circumference swimming pool, and this is the rim of it. This is the edge of it, a round swimming pool. Well, I'm seeing 3 miles out to the rim of this huge-ass swimming pool. So let's say right now I'm seeing 90 degrees of it from this field of view. I'm seeing 90 degrees of a 360-degree circle. So my curve, according to Sly's math, should be 90 degrees. I should see a 90-degree arc right here, right? I mean, I'm using his math. My circle is 19 miles, not 24,901. It's 19, and I'm seeing 90 degrees of it right in front of me. But yet it's flat as a pancake. Why is that? Well, it's very easy. Oops, let me go back. What I wanted to show here is line of sight. How high you have to be to actually see Earth's curvature. I seen Vsauce did a video, and his video was technically accurate as far, you know, he did talk about how high do you have to be to see the Earth, and he was talking about how the space shuttle could only see a little bit, but then he used deceptive graphs. His numbers were right, but then his picture showed this huge ass circle on the Earth, like it was real big, when in reality it was like should have been just this little tiny circle. But he showed it way bigger to deceive the viewer. But you know, obviously the higher your side is in a line, so on a ball, just because of the nature of a ball, if I'm right here, I can't see over here. It's down around below me. I have to come up in order to see it. And believe it or not, you have to get pretty high off the ball before you can see down to the sides. At 7,000 miles above Earth, which is where this star is right here, that point, that's 7,000 miles above Earth to scale. And look where its horizon is. Line of sight, it still is only about 2/3 of the way down the side. I mean, we still need to get all the way down here to see the full half of the Earth. Do you know how far you have to be off of Earth's surface in order to get that angle where you could see all the way down to this very side? I don't think it's humanly possible. Let's say the Earth was a ball. Let's say this was the Earth. I can put this way on the other side of the room, which would simulate tens of thousands of miles, and I don't think I'm ever going to truly, fully see the entire, all the way down to this middle ring, this one right here, which is the very widest point, because I may be able to, but I don't think I'll discern it. You know, but I'm not there yet, and I'm more than that away. I'm probably 12,000 miles in relation to this. I'm still not seeing the sides yet. You know, so this right here is the space shuttle to scale off of the Earth and about what they're seeing. They're not seeing all the way over to here and to here. When we see anything from 220 miles up on the globe, it's only going to be able to see that to that, okay? Now, all I did was I drew a circle, pulled a straight line, and I just started running lines back to see how far out I would have to come in order to get as close as possible to seeing the side. And I feel like this is the point. See this line? It just about gets, if you could see it up close. Oops, sorry. I'm learning how to use this zoom. This line right here just about gets there. And that's about 17,000 miles, using from this measurement out to here is about 17,000 miles, just in order for me to get far enough to see the entire globe. And yet they're taking images of the globe from where? Where exactly are they taking images of the globe from? Should we see any curve? This is the question. People will say, well, should we see a curve? Even if it's flat, should we see a curve? My simple answer is yes. But it's going to be more pronounced the higher you go. In fact, the lower you are, it's going to be very imperceptible, maybe even non-existent. But as you go up and up and up and up, it's going to become more evident. Why? Because we see in a circle, whether we live on a flat plane or on a ball, either way, using the arm, remember the arm, that's my field of view. I'm not drawing a triangle. If there was a pencil on the tip of my fingers and I drew where my hand was going and I traced it, I'm drawing a circle, right? But this is eye level. I'm at the ground, so I'm looking straight out. But if I raise up, yes, my horizon extends, but I'm still seeing a circle, so eventually I'm above the surface, so I'm still seeing in circles. But now I'm kind of having to look down. The more you look down on a circle, the more the angle you're going to see, as evidenced by this next illustration. I'll go back to that in a second. Think of a hula hoop. This is me with a hula hoop, representing my field of view. If I look through the hula hoop and I keep it at dead eye level, I'm looking at the ring of a circle, but it looks straight as a fucking arrow to me, right? This is straight as an arrow across, and you would say, ah, that's a flat horizon, there's no curve. Well, there is no curve this way. The curve is the circle, which is your field of view of 19 miles if it's a person. So we wouldn't expect to see a curve when the horizon is eye level. But the higher you go, the horizon, flat earthers say the horizon always rises to eye level. That's not true, flat earthers. Okay? It appears true, but it's not. The horizon does not rise to eye level. Now, the horizon does rise in your eyesight, but there's plenty of evidence that it doesn't rise to eye level, and it's explainable. It's not a big deal. In fact, it's what we expect. We don't expect it to rise to eye level. Think about it. If I'm standing 6 foot off the ground and I look out to the horizon at eye level, I'm seeing 6 foot above the horizon. It's just because it's 3 miles away, I can't discern 6 feet at 3 miles. So it looks like I'm just seeing the horizon at eye level. But it's really 6 feet below there, okay? So if I'm on a 1,000-foot mountaintop looking out at the sea, my horizon is 100 miles. I don't know. I'd have to look at 1,000 foot. What's our horizon? 50 miles, 70 miles? I'm not sure. But the point is it's such a straight angle that it's like the hula hoop here. 1,000 feet at 50 miles is negligible. You can't tell that difference. So it looks like the horizon is at eye level. But if you were to do fine maths and fine optics, you'll see that the higher you go, the horizon is slowly dropping, and I've got a computer graphic to prove that. Watch the hula hoop here. See, it looks flat. If you lower it a little bit, look, you start to see the curve. And then the higher you go, boom. Now this is exactly what should happen on a globe, okay? And here's why. Hopefully you can, I'm going to full screen this camera real quick because of this. Okay. Good. We're going to use this as our reference point. In fact, let's get the white dot so you can see it, okay? This is where we are. We're standing on the ground at this point. You've got circles which help us to explain this, okay? Let's just say I'm standing at a place where I can see to this ring right here. See this ring going around? Okay, I'm standing to where I can see this ring. In order to see this ring right here, I've got to come up in elevation enough to where my line of sight gets me there. Because on a ball, I'm having to look around an edge, so it takes height to do that. Right? It takes massive height. It takes incredible height. Because notice the length of my stick. From this spot, my length of stick is small. My field of view is very small. But as soon as I go up, you see what I'm saying? Like now I'm this high, and here's where my field of view is hitting. At this high, it's down here. Okay? You see what I'm saying? The higher I get, these rings are getting wider and lower. Just like that hula hoop I showed you. So you would expect on a ball, the higher you go, it's going to be quick too. It's not going to take its sweet old time. It's going to be very noticeable and consistent because the ball is consistently smooth, you know, consistently round. That as I go up, this is me going up and this is my field of view. You see what I'm saying? So now, but now let's change it up. Let's look at this on a flat plane. I'm using my dry erase board, which I haven't opened yet, but I will get to using that. Let's look at this on a flat plane now, shall we? We're going to use this symbol as where you're standing on the flat earth. And so look at where the stick is in relation to that symbol to know. So like I'm standing on that, and that's my field of view to the end of the stick. Now as I come up, my horizon begins to push away at a very quick rate. If you go to the curve chart and then put in your height at 6 feet, your horizon's 3 miles. But at 20 feet, it's way beyond that. It's not just like, it's kind of exponential. The point is on a flat plane, did you notice the higher I go, I don't have to be like this at an angle to see out here. On the ball, I had to be up high in order to see that far. In order to get to a horizon way out here, I've got to be this high. I'm using the entire stick to see down to this point. And I'm on a 45-degree angle. Now on a flat plane, using this, I may only have to be this high in order to get to the end of my stick. Notice how this is only like about a 10-degree angle versus a 45-degree angle, and yet I'm seeing the same amount of distance? Because on a flat plane, your eyesight expands faster because you're looking at a flat surface instead of a ball. I don't have to work with the curve dropping as well. I'm coming straight across on a flat plane. It's a complete different dynamic. And if we don't understand that, then we're gonna be confused. But on a flat plane, your horizon will drop, and I've got a graphic to prove that. Let me move me back down to here. I'll get to that. It's come up in a minute. Seeing the Earth from the ISS, you know, look at the math here. Everything's written. This is the ISS field of view. You know, this is their viewable horizon in circumference. It's 8,400 miles in circumference, or 2,676 in diameter. That's from 220 miles up. And you can read the words I've got here. I'm not going to read everything for you. You can pause this if you want to read what I've got written here. But it's just going over the same stuff I've been talking about. This is a picture they give us. Now, the more I've studied this, the more I don't have a problem with this picture, in essence, because this is exactly how the Earth should look from the ISS. Remember, they're not seeing the full 24,901 miles of the Earth. They're only seeing a small portion of it. So they should see a very defined curve and then the blackness of space. It should be a very evident curve from that height. And as you can see, there's a very evident curve and then the blackness of space. The problem is, unfortunately, is this right here. See that curved panel? Those panels aren't curved in real life. They're straight as an arrow. This is a fisheye lens. So in order to achieve this, they had to use a fisheye lens. You can see this entire structure is curving like an arc here. And you can see this panel's curved. Now this one in the middle is straight as an arrow because fisheye lenses are straight. In the middle part is accurate. It's when you get away from the center where the curves happen. If they were to take this camera right now and kind of pan it up, all of a sudden, if they panned it to where this part was right here, this would be flat across. And then if they panned it where that part was here, it would look like it was concave like this. That's how fisheyes work. This is what the Earth should look like from the International Space Station. It should look like a big, massive curve, because they're seeing a big portion of the Earth's curve on a small circle. So it should be very evident like that. I don't have a problem if this is what, if they showed me a legitimate picture from the ISS that showed the curve of the Earth like this, but all the panels were straight and there was no fisheye lens, then they could say, oh, that's way more accurate, and then we could go from there. But this is completely bogus instantly. But this is what it should look like. And here's why. Because this represents the International Space Station at 220 miles up. This is their line of sight straight out, their horizon. When you're on a globe and you're up, no, I'm sorry, this was the balloon. See, no, this was the ISS. Sorry, my bad. When you're looking straight out from the ISS, your horizon is way out here. This is the ISS. You're looking out into space. Your horizon is down here. What do you have to do to see your horizon from 220 miles up? Well, I did the math. This is line of sight. Their horizon is down to this point right here. So from that point, you get a triangle, you've got your measurements, and it turns out it's an 18.8 degree angle. So at 220 miles up, I've got to look 18.8 degrees down. I have to tilt my head at an 18.8 degree angle downward to see the Earth's horizon from the International Space Station. Now, on a flat Earth, you see how this is curving? And it curves all the way down to here? Just think about if this was a flat Earth. Let me put in a line here. See that? This is where they're looking to right here. This is eye level. But on a flat Earth, I would only have to look down to this point to see the horizon versus all the way down here, except for on a flat Earth, my field of view wouldn't be just to here. On a flat Earth, it would be way out here on a much smaller angle. I could see this far. On a flat Earth from 220 miles up, I'm going to see a lot farther than just to right here. Because the globe, the curvature of the Earth is what's limiting my horizon on the ball. On a flat Earth, there's not as much limiting factor. You can see much farther faster. You understand what I'm saying? So you can pause this if you want to read these to see what I'm explaining here. So let me get back out of this draw mode. Okay. This is the size of the ISS field of view compared to the USA. So it almost sees the entire USA, almost in its field of view. I would love to get a view from the ISS showing this. The entire United States situated within their field of view. Do you think they can do that? The only way they could ever do that is if they were 220 miles up and the Earth was a ball. If they can't show me a complete, do it on a cloudless day or when the clouds aren't in, they show us cloudless skies all the time, right? Even though we don't see that in reality. In reality, I mean, look at Rob Skiba's balloon launch and any balloon launch. The sky at 20 miles is just a fuzzy haze below you. You can't even hardly make out cloud details anymore. Everything just blends together. But yet from the moon, it's just clear as a bell and there's nice cloud formations everywhere. Give me a break. Come on, how much you gotta lie to us? Is there a limit to how far we can see? This chart here is all my own theory. This is not truth. This isn't science. I can't prove this. This is my theory. I believe that we are limited into how far we can see. Even on a flat plane, I just think our eyes are only able to see so far and then it's over. it'll fade out. Like, that's the only way I know to explain it. So I tried to represent this, like on this side of the chart going up is these little red dots are you, and you're going up. This is your line of sight to your horizon. But notice, like, from here to here, this is what I wanted to show. It went way up in elevation, but yet the distance it saw, it kind of came to a point where it starts to do this. The higher you go, it kind of goes and goes and goes, and all of a sudden it does start to come down. And I think there's a limit. No matter how high you went, I don't think it's just unlimited how far you're going to see. You keep going higher, you're just going to keep seeing farther. I believe that our limits, the atmosphere, everything working together is going to limit exactly how far we can see off in the distance. Who knows, 500 miles, 1,000, I don't know, but maybe this is something we could look at. I do believe there's a limit, though. Now, here's the video. This is a physics model from a balloon launch off of a flat Earth with a completely flat surface. Will the horizon continuously rise to eye level? Well, they put in a horizon line and you'll see. Here's the horizon line where it should be, and the pink, the purple is actually where it's at. See it going away? But you see the distance between here and here, and it's starting, the higher it gets, the bigger this gap is getting. This is exactly what we should expect on, because there's a distance here. This isn't at, the horizon isn't at eye level when you're 20 miles off the Earth. The horizon's 20 miles below you. It's just you're seeing it from such a long distance. When you're seeing 1,000 miles away, 20 miles doesn't look like a whole lot. So it might look like it's just right there, but in reality, you're 20 miles above that, okay? And that's what this is showing. So let's just get it together when it's coming to the horizon always rises. Now, I will tell you that the horizon does rise a little bit due to the optics. The angular resolution of the eye and the angle of inclination causes anything above your angle of inclination to lower and anything below your angle of inclination to rise up over distance a little bit. And there's a formula for that. And if you go back and watch Curious Life's videos like I told you about, he gives a formula. It's 0.02 of a degree. And so you can do the math with a right angle calculator. And let's say 100 miles out, you can figure exactly how much angle of inclination there will be. But as you can clearly see, the horizon does drop even on a flat Earth, okay? It's just perspective-wise, we may be 100 miles off of the surface in this illustration, but when you're looking at line of sight from 100 miles up, hell, you're probably seeing 1,500 miles away. So what does 100 miles look like over 1,500 miles away? Not as much as you would think. Man, if I don't keep hitting this thing, I don't know what I'm going to do. You understand what I'm saying? Here's a screen capture I caught off of my TV. This was from the Daytona 500 last year. In Daytona, this picture was taken from like the top of the grandstand, you know, at the race, looking down upon the race, you can see. But look at the ocean. This is Daytona Beach, this is the shore, and this is the horizon of the water. Look how the water has risen up. It's over the top of these buildings. You can see it over the top of the buildings because this is how it works on a flat plane. We know the water's not a straight up wall like this. That's flat as a pancake going out there. It's just angled. This is many, many miles away. Many, many miles away. But this is just maybe 1 mile away. This might be 1 mile, and that edge could be 20 miles. You see what I'm saying? So there's 19 miles between here and here is 19 miles of distance, whereas from here to here is 1 mile. So there's a lot crammed into that. So it looks like this, but notice how it looks like it rises. You know, globetards think that the horizon should stay down here and not rise. Well, that's the way it should. If this were a globe, this shouldn't rise like this as much because, you know, we're not looking this, we're looking over the edge of a ball, which drops off quick, exponentially. Miles squared times 8 inches. You know, it's a squared, it's exponential. So this is just more visible proof, you know, what we're looking at. And of course, for a final thing here, I put in 275 miles to this peak. That's a world record camera, 275 miles. That peak is 275 miles away. Of course, we're up on a mountain, so, but do you see any curvature anywhere? Do you see even the hint of a ball? Now think about it. On a ball, there's a hump. Do you see the hump? You see the hump there? How come we never see the hump? If this is 275 miles away, then to the center of this is 100 and what? 40 miles nearly? Well, do the math on 140 miles. Watch this. 140 miles times 140 miles times 8 inches, right? Equals. Let's divide that by 12 and get feet. Now let's divide that by 5,280 to get miles. And we'll notice that there should be a 2.5 mile hump in the middle of this picture. So in the middle, from there to here should be a 2.5 mile drop. And from here to there should be a 2.5 mile drop of roundness. Do you see any drop whatsoever? Do you see any curve indicated whatsoever anywhere in this? Any curvature anywhere? Do you see it? How many miles do you think it is from there to there? I can only imagine it's probably 300, 400, 500 miles away or wide. And look how straight that is. I mean, we got ridges. It's hard to put an exact, you know, science to it, but because we're looking at ridges and stuff. But look at that. I mean, oops. You see what I'm saying? That's perfectly straight in hundreds of miles. Hundreds of miles, and it's perfectly straight across, man. Okay, so I hope I was able to get this out. I don't know if I'm explaining it the best way. It makes 100% sense to me. I've been going over this now for months. I've talked to dozens of people. I've talked to very smart people, and it can't be refuted, man. We've messed up. Maybe for all of human history. I don't know. Has anybody else in human history caught this problem? If so, I haven't heard it. Because everybody, every textbook, every Bill Nye, every scientist, every flat earther, every globe earther thinks that when you're looking out at the water, you're seeing the Earth's curve. And you're not seeing Earth's curve. You're seeing your little tiny field of view. You understand? Let's say that the Earth was perfectly flat. And I'm seeing out here. Let me get back a picture of a flat horizon. Okay, right here. Okay. So this is 3 miles to here, right? How far is it to here? Do you know the answer? From my point of view to there. What about my point of view to here? It's 3 miles. I can only see 3 miles. That's the limit of my field of view from 6 feet tall. I'm not seeing this isn't the edge of the fucking earth. Okay, let me put in a line to explain what I'm saying. Let's say the earth is flat. That's the edge of the flat earth. This isn't what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing the limits of my 3 mile horizon. So over here is only 3 miles, and over here is only 3 miles. In reality, if this was 3 miles, and I followed this line straight out and then looked and sent a boat out there, that would probably be 5 or 6 miles away from me. Because this line is moving away from my eyesight. Because when I look in my limited field of view, it pulls away. A straight line continues out in front of this from there. In essence, my field of view is doing this. Sorry. See what I'm saying? My field of view is tracing a circle that's slowly coming in. This is my field of view. But it looks almost flat. And this is why I don't have a problem with us seeing a little bit of a curve, because this is the hula hoop. Now, when we're close to the ground, the hula hoop's right at eye level, so it looks just like what we're seeing here, and it looks as flat as a pancake. But we're not seeing the edge of the flat earth here. We're not seeing along the surface of the flat earth. We're just seeing the limits of our circle of vision, which is circular. This is a circular object we're looking at. We're seeing the inside of a hula hoop from eye level, so it looks flat. So the higher you go, the more pronounced the curve will be. I believe, even on a flat plane, that the higher we go, we're going to start to see a little bit of a curve. I don't have a problem with seeing a 4-degree curve from 20 miles up. I really don't. We need to do more studying of that, more accurate science, and see exactly what's happening. But let me tell you, I don't have a problem with it. You understand what I'm saying? So, where am I at right here? Okay. How do I get all this shit off the screen? Oh, let me erase that and tell that I'm done. Okay. Good. Okay. Sorry, like I said, I'm just learning this thing. So, anyways, this has turned into an hour and 45 minutes. Let me go ahead and close this out. I've had my notes here. You know, I write out notes. That way I make sure I get the information that I want to present across and don't forget anything. I have an idea for an experiment using accelerometers. If someone who is capable in the programming of accelerometers could get in touch with me, I have an idea for an experiment that it will be incontrovertible. Whatever we find out, we find out. It's going to be a very hard line test as far as curvature goes. So if you are knowledgeable in the programming of apps and accelerometers and know how they work, please get in touch with me. And I also have some videos I'm going to be making on some other discoveries I've made having to do with the moon and NASA and a few other items that I've discovered along the way as well. But this is the main thing. To me, this is the end of the globe as we know it. They can't use the math anymore. They can't use the curvature on the horizon and say, see, there's a little curve there, and that's exactly what it should be on the Earth. We do our math like Sly Sparkane did. Sorry, Sly, you're wrong. I told you months ago I was going to prove you wrong. You didn't think I was. I told you I was going to bury you and all your globetards because you won't listen. You have a closed mind. You think you know it all. And listen, man, we're all on this planet or plane or frisbee or dumb or whatever we're on it together. You know what I'm saying? Let's work together. Flat Earth asshole, you too, bro. Everybody, let's work together. Math Powerland, still cocky as hell. I still listen to you, but fucking dudes, get it together, man. Like, work together. Let's help each other out, even if you believe in the globe. Work with us. We're all in this together. We're not against you. We don't hate you. Why does everything have to be fucking Ford or Chevy, Republican or Democrat, fucking flat or round, you know? And if I believe this way and you believe this way, we hate each other. I'm a Trump supporter. I believe orange Cheeto, okay? But my girlfriend is a liberal. She wasn't a Hillary supporter. She was a Bernie supporter. I love her more than life itself because we can learn to live with our differences and learn from each other. We actually learn from each other because we have different perspectives. She sees things I can't see, and I see things she can't see, and it works together. And it brings stability. You know what I'm saying? So just try to remember that. Let's work together, guys, in this community. Let's be at peace with one another. If I've said unkind words to you, you know, I'll try to do better myself. But if you come at me with nonsense, I'm gonna push right back. I'm like Trump in that. If you come at me with some bullshit, I'm not gonna wait around. I'm gonna pounce because that's just how I'm built. But anyways, I appreciate you listeners. Please let me know what you think about the globe's fatal flaw. Give me your input. Take this information, share this video, redo it if you can do it better. I don't care. Give me some shout outs. Go check out them channels I told you about. And at the end of the day, my friends, God bless you. Love you all. We're in this together. God bless America. God bless this world, you know. And let us be at peace, guys, okay? This is the Flat Earth Genius, and I am signing out.